Hi, Wade from High-Tech Legion here, and what we have here is a new case offering from Antec, the GX700. It is a mid-tower case, and it is made completely out of steel, so there's very little plastic on it, other than the buttons and things like that. The rest of it's steel. So I'll be giving you an overview of this case, as well as in a second video showing you the installation process. On the front of the GX700 case, we've got 4 5¼ drive bays, as well as a red power button, and the reset button, you'll notice, is completely separate from the power button. That's one key feature here, so that we don't accidentally hit the power button when we're trying to do a hard reset on it. Behind this panel here is room for 2 120mm fans. There is a dust filter back here, which you can get to simply by removing these 4 thumb screws. And the metal panel here with the Antec GX700 dog tag on it is what I would call it. A little logo, but it looks kind of like a dog tag. This whole panel pops out, and you can get to the removable dust filter very easily and see that we have the space here for the 2 120mm fans. So we'll pop that back into place. And for the 5¼ drive bays, they have these extra clips here to help hold the drives in place even further than the locks that lock them into the slots. The front covers are a military green and are made of solid steel, so if you decide that you want to move your drives around, you can easily pop these back into place and not have to worry about breaking them. The clips definitely add a little bit of extra support for the 5¼ drives. I mean, with the locks inside, you probably don't need that, but if you're moving your case around a lot, that's certainly going to help. On the top of the case here, we can see that we have some mesh here with 2 large 140mm fans. Our front panel offers us 2 USB 3.0, 2 USB 2.0 ports, a headphone jack, and a microphone jack in. Under our little panel here, sort of like the flip switch on the weapons in a cockpit or something like that, we've got a fan controller here where we can set the fan speeds. Adds a little military style slash, rugged style to the case. On the rear of the case, we can see that we've got our bottom mount power supply section here, as well as 7 expansion slots. These are removable and do go back into place. Under here, you have a flip up section where you can actually unscrew the PCI Express cards without even opening up the case. This makes it definitely easier to install those cards. In the rear, behind this mesh, we have the 120mm fan exhausting air out, our motherboard I/O panel, and as well as 2 rubber grommets here to allow for some water cooling, because you can put a 240mm radiator in the top of this case. Next, I'll show you the inside. So on the inside of the side panel, we have space to mount an additional 120mm fan for a total of 6 cooling fans that can be installed in this case. 2 in the front, 1 on the side, 240mm in the top, and 120mm in the back. Our power supply does go on the bottom, and there are some feet here for the power supply to sit on. It also has a removable cleanable dust filter on it, so the intake will keep the dust out of your power supply, add to the life of your machine. It goes in and out pretty easily. We've got 5 3.5" drive bays here. These drive bays also, or the trays themselves, also have the mounts for 2.5" drives, so you can mount either 3.5" or 2.5" drives in any one of these bays. We can see the 120mm fan on the back here, as well as the 2 here. You've got some room here for a radiator, and then our toolless locks for our 5¼ drive bays. These are simply the turn, click, and place back in and turn them to lock them in place type. Many of our cables are already pre-routed, and if we take this twist tie off here, we can pull these out a little bit more, and we can see that we have our power switch, reset switch, power LED, hard drive LED connections, as well as the connection for our fan controller, our USB 3 ports, HD audio, and USB 2.0, as well as a 4-pin Molex connector to connect up the fan controller. If we look at the other side here, you can see the heatsink cutout in the motherboard tray better, as well as pull the drive trays out and look at them, and you see that they're pretty flexible, and the little nubs here, the drives just flex and pop into the nubs if they're 3.5 inch, or you put screws in through the bottom for your 2.5 inch drives. They slide right onto the tracks, lock into place very easily. You also have another second set of locks on the 5.25 inch drives on this side, so they're going to be very secure in place. On the back of the motherboard tray, we've got some places where you can tie down cables to, as well as rounded, smooth cutouts for your cable management. So you're not going to be slicing your cables by running the cables through it. The motherboard tray itself supports ATX, microATX, and Mini-ITX. All our holes here are labeled so that you can easily install your standoffs. As far as accessories are concerned, Antec provides a quick product overview, and you have to go to the website to get the full manual if you need it. We've got the standoffs for the motherboard, as well as all the various screws necessary to install everything into this case. Most of it's toolless, of course the motherboard itself is not. And then we have a couple zip ties that they include for your cable management purposes. I hope you enjoyed the overview of this case. Please don't forget to subscribe to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and check out the website at www.hightechlegion for the full review, as well as others. Keep in mind, we'll also have a second video up with the component installation for this case, so check that out as well.